Hello and welcome back to Azure Terraformer. I am continuing mission with that regions module. I'm going to be playing around with a new feature in 1.9 of Terraform where you can reference other objects within your Terraform module within your input variable validation block. So we're going to try out a couple of things and see what works, see what doesn't, and should give us some things to ponder. So anyways, there is a lot of validation that can be going on here. You know, we have an input variable for geography, and you can see I've kind of started setting up that validation block. And previously, in the validation block, when you set the condition, you could only set it to reference, the only symbol that it could reference is var.geography. So you could do very, very primitive validation, you know, just using the string value. Basically simple validation, right? Any logic that could be hard-coded, you know, either using regex or, you know, a Boolean conditional statement that you could hard-code within this one line of code here, it would be good to go. Now, what we do have now is the ability to reference other objects. And so you can see here I'm referencing a local variable, and I'm testing to see if my input variable is in that collection. Now, I'm going to test it with a hard-coded list. So I actually took the time and I outputted this array to be a valid value. And I'm just going to reference that. So we're going to say local.geographies. That is my hard-coded list. So when I run Terraform init and then Terraform apply, and you can see here I am passing in an invalid value. Let me just change that to be United Kingdom. We did that on a previous episode, so we know that should be good. So now I'm going to try a geography called United Kingdom. Now everything's working pretty good, right? So yeah, that worked. And so we filtered down geographies that only exist, that only match United Kingdom. And actually this is an example that I created that literally just outputs the list of geographies. So this little example is one that I created to help me create that list, the geography list that I use in validation. Spoiler alert. So anyways, if I change this to an invalid one, let's see what happens. Let me just like I got a sticky key on my keyboard. Let's see what happens. And there we go. It says the value must be a supported value. Now I put that in. It's not the greatest thing, right? The geography must be a supported value. Yeah, I guess. There you go. How about that? So yeah, and if I update that, I'm sure that'll work. Yeah, we're good. So it doesn't super. It's not super helpful. It doesn't really tell me all the supported values. You know, maybe I could actually output, you know, the supported values, you know, for example. But of course, I can't just output, the list. I need to use a join method. So I'll call join. I'll pass in a comma to make it delimited by that, and then we'll close off join, and that should be pretty good. Probably need that in there. Yeah, I'm totally screwing this up, aren't I? And there you go. So a geography must be a supported value. For example, I do want to have a comma in there because that's good grammar. All these things. And maybe I should add a space here at the end of that so that it looks a little bit nicer. There you go. So now it'll actually give you decent values for the one. And now this is a little bit confusing because we got stage and canary. You know, those are probably regions you don't have access to, but whatever. So yeah, so the validation is working. Now, what would happen because I'm actually, I took this hard-coded list and I stuffed it into a local variable. But where is this list actually originating from? So if we go look at this, I'm actually outputting it from the geography value here, right, on the region. And if I go look at my locals, I actually have a local inside this module that is the list of geography, right? This is a distinct list of geographies. So technically, using this 1.9 feature, I should be able to reference this local, which is pulled from the thing, which ultimately this is coming from my data source, right? The thing, right? So if you trace this down, regions data merged, where are we going? Unfiltered regions data merged. There you go. Local locations, all location list. And now we go to query locations, and we're at all location list. We're going back to all physical location list, and we're back up to our data source, right? So this is where we're getting all that data. So that's how we get this list. So ultimately, we're referencing this data source. So the question is, if I go modify this to change it from this hard-coded array to that local, right? This local.geos, that is a thing, right? That is in this module. It is right here. It is local.geos. And it is ultimately going to trace back up to that data source. Now, what is going to happen? Let's see what happens. I'm going to run init again, and I'm going to run Terraform apply, and just see what happens. Boom. I've got this very cryptic error. It says cycle module regions var geography. Okay, so this is a validation on the var geography. And it looks like we are expanding. And I think this is a backwards kind of trace route, right? So the start is local.geos. And then I think it just expands from local.geos because we get, what is this? Regions data merged. So after we go from local geos, we go to regions data merged. After we go from regions data merged, we go to unfiltered regions data merged, right? And we go back up the stack. Now, ultimately, interestingly, it does hit all locations list as the final thing, which is right here, all locations list. But then it just stops, right? All locations list. I think it's having trouble expanding this. So I see. It's because I'm actually applying a filter of the same object on that thing. So I think this is a problem, right? So I could probably get this to work if I refactor this a little bit. So I need to basically make my I need to basically make my master data to be not based on the merged data. Now, I kind of feel like maybe I should just create like something called filtered, maybe geos, supported geos. And, let's do a distinct let's try that and throw distinct on the end there. What did I screw up? Yeah, distinct's a function. Yeah, okay, there we go. So now let's use supported geos and let's throw that in there. So instead of geos that is ultimately going to reference the input variable var geography, we don't want to do that, right? We want to go like, we don't want to ever reference var geography again because it would be kind of circular reference. So let's see if we can get this thing to work. Holy cow, it is working. So I am validating the geography input variable based on the actual Azure list of supported geographies that I build by making a data source call to Azure. So to prove that, I'm gonna delete this file altogether, which has the hard-coded value, and we're gonna rerun this in the outputting of supported values. So there you go. Now we have integration where we can validate. We don't have to hard code the list of geographies in there. Let's go ahead and do this for geography groups. I mean, that would be pretty cool, right? Geography group. Does that look right? GitHub Copilot, are you doing me dirty here? I want to check if it's null. I want to use a ternary operator to return true if it's null, because basically I don't need to validate it, right? Like if it's null, it's good. If it's not null, then I want to go check and see if it's in that supported geo groups, which doesn't exist yet. Whoa. And then I need to set an error message, which I can do just like that. And there we go. So now the geography group must be a supported value. And now I need to go create a supported list that's not dependent on the filter, right? So we'll call this geo groups, and we will change this to just pull the geography group. No. What is the, no var, GitHub Copilot, it tries hard, right? So this should work. Of course, I'm not actually like passing in that filter. So the geography group is null, so we should be fine. So let me try and just change this from geography. We're going to change this to geography. I'm just going to test geography group. We're going to set it to Europa. There we go. Definitely did not spell that right. So we're going to see what comes back. And it should tell me. Yeah, there you go. And beautiful. Look at that. Asia Pacific, Africa. Let's just go throw Africa on there. And let's see the magic happen. There you go. And we're going to see this come back. So there you go. So we just implemented a pretty solid use case, you know? I mean, when you're deploying to Azure using Terraform or ARM or whatever, like what is like one of the most common input variables? Like in my mind, like every Terraform project that I do for Azure, it at least has one region, right? At least one that I, want my user to put in, to target that deployment to a particular region or multiple regions, right? How awesome is it that we can use live Azure data to validate the input of the user? That's incredible. Holy cow. So, using the AzAPI provider to get this, you can do this now in your modules. All you have to do is, you can use this module itself, and just don't return. Don't return don't set any filters, right? And then you can create validations yourself using this module, and just, when this module gives you the list of supported geographies or the list of supported geography groups, then you can use that to validate the locations that are coming into your project. So I'll probably do that in an upcoming video, but I mean, this is pretty cool stuff. Hope you like it. If you like this content, please smash that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a lot. So Thanks a lot. This is the Azure Terraformer signing off.